Howdy folks, I'm Eric Willard, and today we are checking out this beautiful G&L guitar right out of the birthplace of bolt-on. This is the G&L S500 Fullerton Deluxe, and man, this is one of the most versatile guitars I think I've ever played, so I can't wait to dig into this one. So before we jump into it, let's go over some of the things that caught my attention right off the bat. So unlike most Strats, this has a different options for controls here. So instead of having, for example, a volume and then two tone knobs, or in some Strat cases, I guess two volumes and one tone, this guitar has what they call a PTB system. That is passive treble and bass. And in this guitar, you've actually got a volume, and then you've got a treble and a bass roll off. So that means at 10 or 100%, they act, as normal. And as you roll them down, it rolls it off. So very useful. Obviously the treble reacts pretty much the same as a normal tone knob, but it's really cool to have a bass roll off as well. It gets you some really interesting tones going, kind of easy to get like a lo-fi type of vibe going with some of that. So that's a really cool thing that I like a lot. I don't ever really make use of both tone knobs on a Strat personally. I use the tone knob on a Strat a lot for if I'm on like the bridge, for example, to roll off some of the high end or whatever else, typical Strat stuff. But having that bass knob on this, really cool in my opinion, gives you a lot of different versatility. This whole guitar in general is extremely versatile, and you'll see what I mean as I dive deeper here. Let's move to the pickups. So for the pickups on this guitar, we have the G&L MFD pickups. That is the magnetic field design. And if you were to compare them to anything, it would be closest to like a P90 or a Jazzmaster. However, these have a punchier bottom end and kind of like a glassier, I guess more bite in the top end. So they're very full range. And they're very high output, and they don't have like the breakup characteristic that your typical like Alnico style pickup would have. So a lot of tonal options there, a lot of versatility. Aside from that, the MFD pickups, I guess if you were to compare them to something, it's kind of the same concept as why a lot of people will reach for, say, a Fender Twin. People will reach for a Fender Twin. You want the extra headroom, you don't want the breakup, you want a very clean canvas to sculpt whatever sound you're going to get out of pedals or whatever it is you might be doing. These pickups are kind of the same scenario. You've got very little breakup, it's high output, a lot of headroom, a very full response. So there's so many different tones you can get out of this guitar, which is, it was immediately apparent when I started playing this thing and switching through all the different pickup options. Which leads us to the pickup options. Let's talk about that. So this guitar is very unique in that we've got this little mini expander switch here, as you can see. That gives you an extra 2 pickup options. So if we look at our 5-way toggle here, we have your typical, we got bridge and middle, neck and middle, and then just your neck, just like a normal Strat. However, when we toggle on this expander switch, it gives us 2 more pickup options. So with that expander switch enabled, if you have this pickup selector on either extreme, that's either position 1 or 5, it will act as both the neck and bridge pickups combined. However, if you have it in position 2, 3, or 4, any one, it will actually be all 3 pickups. So as you can see, you can use this guitar with any pickup combination or configuration that you could possibly imagine. It has a ton of tonal options, a lot of versatility, and that's huge for me when writing and when just jamming around and coming up with lick ideas, riffs ideas, song ideas even, is being able to get that tone you hear in your head just from flipping a few switches on the guitar. That's very big for me. You don't have to reach for a pedal for as much. You don't have to reach for your amp for as much, or your mouse and keyboard to change plugin settings. A lot of times I've found I can get very close to that tone I hear in my head just by any combination of these knobs and switches right here on this guitar. Again, with the passive treble and bass system, with the mini expander switch, and obviously your normal 5-way pickup selector. This guitar has it all. So again, very versatile. Love that. We'll dig deeper into that here in just a moment. One other thing I wanted to cover is I love that I have plenty of Strats, plenty of Fender Strats, and one of the things that all of them has, I don't know if this is like a model dependent thing or if I just got unlucky, but on all of my normal Strats, I don't have the option to tighten in my tremolo bar. On this guitar, you have a little Allen wrench key that you can tighten, or you can adjust the tension of the tremolo bar and keep it in place wherever you want it, or you just keep it tight enough to where it sticks. As you can see right here, I can move it all around and it will stick wherever I place it. Now on my normal Strats, you can twist it around and around and it'll tighten until you reach the end of the threading. And on my Strats, that normally reaches like right here, which is inconvenient because it's in the way of when I'm strumming. And I don't like to over tighten things. I can over tighten it maybe and reach, maybe down here, but it's still kind of out of the way. And to actually keep it right around here, you got to go backwards all the way around, and then it's just floating around. I really love that this has a tension knob. I know it's nothing new. A lot of guitars have it, but for a Strat variant, for a Strat itself, I love that ability to just lock it in place. Something simple. Again, a lot of guitars have it, but it's a big one for me because it's just annoying to not be able to have that right where you want it at all times, and to be able to just knock it around and know that it's staying in place. We've talked a lot about it. I've talked about the features. I think it's time to hear what this thing can do.